Do you think we'll ever meet?
Me, inside your head, now. Unfortunately for us both, I like crazy.
Hurry! Fall back now! Any sign of the chief? Negative, sir. I think we lost him.
Not yet.
PlayStation.
Remember about 6 months ago when I said, Sony always comes swinging in the later years of a console generation? Yeah, we're so back. Not only do we have a massive lineup of PlayStation exclusives dropping, but we've also got Xbox games landing on PS5, all of them. It's insane. And the PS5 Pro, man. At first, $700 sounded like a lot when it dropped back in November. But now, looking at the GPU market in 2025, there's literally nothing else that even comes close for the price. And listen, I'm saying this as someone who's played on a 4090 rig. I've seen the best PC gaming can throw at you. And I'm telling you straight up, PS5 Pro is the best gaming system right now. Hands down. It's been out for 6 months, and it's only getting stronger with every new game optimized for it. Oh, and about Xbox? We're getting their games now too. Thanks, Microsoft. Really shot yourselves in the foot with that $69 billion acquisition, didn't you? Not gonna lie though, I actually feel a little bad for Phil Spencer. The guy didn't deserve to get stuck cleaning up that disaster. And here's the best part. We're not even close to done, because up next, we're diving into the future, talking PS6 rumors, leaks, and why Sony might be about to pull off the greatest comeback story in gaming history. Buckle up, this ride's just getting started.
Sony is a larger business than we are in gaming today, and they continue to invest. When you look at the investments that we've made, it's a highly competitive market. We strive to be a major player here. We want to deliver great content for our players.
Most of my loyal followers already know the deal, but let's do a little recap for the newcomers and, you know, anyone who forgot. At this point, everybody knows. I'm a Sony pony, a full-on Sony shill, cat's out of the bag. Now, my brother, he's that psycho type who blows all his cash on gaming and needs to have the best of the best hardware. And somehow, I convinced him to use his monster rig to help me prove that the PS5 Pro can crush gaming PCs. Did I manipulate him? Yeah, maybe just a little. If you want to see all the juicy 4090 gameplay footage, you can check them out on the second channel. Links in the description somewhere. Now, before all the PCMR kids come at me screaming, you're delusional, let's make one thing crystal clear. A 4090 rig absolutely dominates everything. Games look insane. Crazy fidelity, crazy frame rates, insane resolutions. No argument there, but, and this is a big, juicy but, that beast of a setup costs around $3,500 to $4,000, depending where you get your parts. That's no small flex. And sure, you could build a cheaper rig, like a 4070 setup, and yeah, you'll still get decent performance. Sometimes it might even outshine the PS5 Pro, but not always. You'll still hit annoying issues. You'll still bang your head against the wall troubleshooting dumb stuff. And even then, those mid-range rigs, they're still clocking in at around $1,500 to $2,000. Easy. Meanwhile, the PS5 Pro, it's sitting there at $700, ready to rock. And honestly, that's a freaking achievement by Sony. It's why I always champion consoles. Twice the performance, half the horsepower. That's what I call peak optimization. And if you still need convincing, just look at Death Stranding 2. Right now, PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 5 Pro exclusive. Yeah, sure, it's gonna hit PC eventually. In like, what, 1 to 2 years? That's Sony's little side hustle now. Squeeze out extra cash later. Smart move. But here's the funny part. You really think you're gonna run that that game smoothly on a 3070, a 4060, hell, even a 4070, not at the settings the PS5 Pro will be running it at. No chance. And this isn't new. This has always been the case, and it's not changing anytime soon. I still remember when the PS5 dropped and people were trying to build PS5 killer PCs using 3060s and 3070s. Man, that was hilarious. Half those rigs couldn't even match the PS5 when it came to running PS5 ports. Want an example? Marvel's Spider-Man 2. That game straight up wrecked 4070 rigs. Yeah, granted, it was a bit of a hot mess at launch and even crashed my brother's 4090 rig a few times. It's better now, but still nowhere near the smoothness of a PS5 Pro on a mid-range PC.
Port has been utter trash so far, but they just brought out a patch to supposedly fix it. However, after about 5 minutes of playing, this is what happens. And just ignore the black smegma, by the way, that appears when webbing enemies. This is a bug they haven't fixed just yet. So, the game is still utterly broken, as you can see. It's about 4 or 5 minutes in, and it just completely crashes again. It is so frustrating. On release, the crashing was so bad. Look at what it did to my PC. It would completely crash the damn thing, causing it to completely restart. I've never seen a game actually do that to my PC before.
I've seen it with my own eyes. Another gem? Monster Hunter Wilds on a 4060 rig. Looked like straight up garbage. Ran even worse. Worse than the base PlayStation 5 version. Don't believe me? Go watch Digital Foundry's breakdown. It's brutal.
Of warning or telling me that VRAM was in fact an issue. It was showing everything healthily below the yellow and red bars. So the VRAM meter and the game itself thinks everything should be fine at the settings it defaulted to. Yet just moving the camera is causing big stutters, and the textures are very poor, with obvious pop-in. The high textures in Monster Hunter Wilds don't just look poor because I was playing the game on an 8GB GPU. Even loading up the game on an RTX 4070 with 12GB of VRAM shows that the high textures are just the same. They're just poor looking overall. All the quality issues are there that I saw on an RTX 4060 with 8GB. Tweaking down the texture settings to medium got rid of the stutters while turning the camera on the RTX 4060 at least. But that revealed two other big issues with the game's technical quality. One was that the medium textures are just awful anywhere you look. To avoid stuttering on an 8GB GPU, you have to essentially downgrade textures to look more like something you'd see in a game from the early 2000s. Seriously, just look at these textures. I'm kind of at awe that this is the texture quality required to make an 8GB GPU not stutter in what is essentially an empty desert filled with repeating tiled textures for sand. The other thing that I saw here at medium texture quality was performance related. Although the game was no longer stuttering when I turned the camera, it was obvious to see that it was heavily dipping in frame rate, and frame times were rapidly increasing just while turning the camera. Having tested many games.
Honestly, the PC gaming market these days, it's kind of a joke. And I'm not saying that to piss off PC gamers. I'm saying it because people deserve to know. Even my brother, the ultimate PC guy, agrees with me. Yeah, the games look great and run great if you're rich. My biggest beef with PC gaming right now, GPU prices keep going up and performance barely moves. The new 50 series cards, man, they're basically a giant middle finger to loyal customers. Remember when they tried to hype up the 5070 like it was going to be the second coming of Christ? As powerful as a 4090.
RTX 50 series, Blackwell architecture. The GPU is just a beast. Those are the speeds and feeds, so how does it compare? Well, this is RTX 4090. I know many of you have one. I know it. Look, it's $1,599. It is one of the best investments you could possibly make. Don't be ashamed. It's the modern home theater. It makes perfect sense. And now for $1,500 and $1,599, you get to upgrade that and turbocharge the living daylights out of it. Well, now with the Blackwell family, RTX 5070, 4090 performance at $549. 5070, 4090 performance, $549, and here's the whole family. Starting from 5070 all the way up to 5090, 5090, twice the performance of a 4090. Starting, of course, we're producing at very large scale, availability starting January. Well, it is incredible, but we managed to put these in gigantic performance GPUs into a laptop. This is a 5070 laptop. For $1299, this 5070 laptop has a 4090 performance. I think there's one here somewhere. Let me show you this.
Yeah, right. It got debunked so fast it wasn't even funny. Turns out, the 5070 is, at best, 5% better than a 4070. 5%. That's pathetic. And the 5090? Honestly, it's just a 4090 slapped together with 4 times DLSS frame gen. You know why 4 times frame gen isn't unlocked on 40 series cards yet? Because Nvidia wants you to buy the 50 series. But trust me, if they wanted to, they could easily add it to the 4090. And honestly, someone probably will, with a jailbreak or a hack. But even then, who the hell wants 4 times frame gen? Gamers want to play native, real frames, real performance. And when you look at it that way, there's no damn reason to upgrade from a 4090 to a 5090 unless you like wasting money. Meanwhile, PS5 Pro, it just works. No fancy tweaking, no setting sliders, no driver updates every Tuesday. Just pick up the controller and play. One last thing, you want to see the PS5 Pro Flex in real time? Go check out Assassin's Creed Shadows. Whether you love the game or hate it, you can't deny it runs insane on PS5 Pro. We're talking 60 frames per second gameplay with ray-traced global illumination, dynamic weather systems, crazy dense foliage, destructible environments. It's stunning. And yeah, it looks even better on a 4090, no doubt. But again, $700 console, controller included, versus $4,000 PC. You do the math.
Around 420 to 480, the 16s are between 480 to 600. But with that being said, literally every single one of them is currently out of stock. Now, before we even look at the benchmarks, I absolutely do not recommend you buy an 8GB graphics card for like $500 in 2025. You could argue that this product shouldn't even exist, but Nvidia is actually making a decent move here. The price gap from 8GB to 16 was a whopping $100 with the 4060 Ti. That gap's down to only $50, so we're at least headed in the right direction. As far as performance goes, on average, the 5060 Ti is about 18 to 20% better than the 4060 Ti in 1080p. It's also 20 to 25% better in 1440p. Honestly, if we didn't have these GPU supply issues here in the United States, the 16GB card on paper actually doesn't look all that bad. We initially tested our games in 1080p, but we quickly discovered this card deserves a full 1440p run, and that's what this card is aimed for. Now, we didn't test this mid-range card with a 9950 X3D, we tested with a more reasonable Ryzen 5 5600. Every game was either in 1440p high or ultra settings. Marvel Rivals hit 83 FPS in 1440p high, Black Myth hit 72 FPS in 1440p high, and Fortnite hit 191 FPS in 1440p Pro. For a comparison, the 5060 Ti is just slightly above an RX 7700 XT and RTX 3070 Ti. It's slightly below a 7800 XT and RTX 3080. Also, quick shout out to ASUS for hooking us up with almost every RTX 50 series card so we can make review videos on them.
Man, Nvidia really pulled a fast one with the RTX 5060 Ti 8GB, didn't they? And not just, oh, it's a little behind, messy. I'm talking full-on stuttering, texture pop-ins, game crashes, the whole nightmare package. Shout out to Hardware Unboxed. They had to literally buy their own card because Nvidia didn't even send out review units for the 8GB version, which, honestly, red flag. If a company doesn't even want you looking too closely, you already know something's wrong. And sure enough, the 8GB card and the 16GB version are nothing alike, even though they share the same name. On paper, same cores, same basic chip. In reality, saving $50 gets you dropped straight into Stutter City. Massive frame drops, frame time spikes, even games flat out crashing. The Last of Us, Part 2, the 16GB version is chilling at 109 frames at 10 1080p, very high. The 8GB version, struggling at 67. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, crashed. Hogwarts Legacy, texture pop-ins everywhere like it's 2015. Even Horizon Forbidden West at 4K with DLSS, 70 frames on the 16GB card, 15 on the 8GB one. 15. At that point, you're basically watching a slideshow. And the worst part, it's not even the GPU's fault. It's just 8GB. Isn't enough anymore. Even at 1080p, modern games are blowing past that limit. Unless you're planning to only play esports games forever, that card's gonna feel outdated way faster than you think. Now don't get me wrong, the 16GB version, it's fine. It's not mind-blowing, but it's solid for the price. It even trades blows with the 4070 in some games. But Nvidia sneaking that 8GB model in there? Yeah, that's shady. They know people are gonna see that cheaper price tag and not realize what they're really buying into. Bottom line, saving $50 today is not worth years of frustration later.
Creators have made amazing use of the hardware capabilities, but when I talk to them, I do hear about their desire for more graphics performance. The dreams of the developers are bigger than can be supported at 60 frames per second, and that leads to an aspect of modern gaming that we're all familiar with: graphics modes. It can be a difficult choice for players. Fidelity modes emphasize the visuals, typically through higher resolution rendering. These modes might also have enhanced detail or use more ray tracing. But the games only run at 30 frames per second. The visuals can be choppier and the controls less responsive. Performance modes emphasize frame rate and interactivity, typically choosing to run at 60 frames per second, mainly by reducing the graphical detail until those frame rates can be achieved. When asked to decide on a mode, players are choosing performance about 3/4 of the time. Removing that decision, or at least narrowing that divide, is one of the key targets for PlayStation 5 Pro.
The other day, I was scrolling through my comments, and someone dropped this take, basically saying that Sony dropping a release date for one game doesn't mean we're back, and that the PS5 has been the most disappointing PlayStation ever. They said they regret putting their faith in Sony, and can't believe their main console this gen ended up being Xbox. Of course, the comment section exploded. Some people started throwing around the usual bot accusations, others laughing it up and mocking PlayStation fans. You know how it goes. Classic internet chaos. Me, I kept it simple. I just asked one of them, why are you the way that you are? Because seriously, sometimes you just gotta wonder. Then the original guy came back and said he wasn't trying to offend anyone. He just felt like this has been Sony's weakest generation. He said he loved the PS4, but now it feels like we're just replaying re-released games over and over with not enough fresh stuff. And that PS2 was peak gaming. Also said the Xbox 360 was the best ever in terms of software and hardware. Fair points, honestly. So here's what I told him. Someone robbed me in real life last week. So, I don't know if I can even be offended online right now, but I'll tell you this. I love my PS5. I freaking love Spider-Man 2. I love Ragnarok, call it cross-gen, I don't care. I love Helldivers 2. And honestly, I could name another 20 PS5 games I love, but that's probably another video script for another day. Also, I can't believe your main box is the Xbox now. But hey, if you're happy, that's what matters. I really don't care what platform anyone plays on, as long as you're enjoying yourself. Just please, don't rely only on Game Pass. Because the second you stop paying, those games vanish. And honestly, I really hate how toxic the gaming conversation has gotten. Like, why bully people just because they like one system over another? It's dumb. And yeah, the live service phase made a lot of us Sony fans bitter, but Sony's shifting back to their roots. And man, I'm hyped for what's coming. I also added, PS2 was peak gaming for sure, but if you actually boot up some of those old games today on a real PS2, you'll realize real quick that a lot of the mechanics and graphics don't hold up so well anymore. Except Budokai Tenkaichi 3. That game, still a straight up banger, never gets old. After that, he actually replied pretty respectfully, saying he doesn't rely on these companies anyway. He buys physical games he wants and just enjoys the extra luxury Game Pass gives for now, and that he's just disappointed because he knows how strong Sony's legacy is, but feels like they're not doing enough with it. Moral of the story? We all want better games. Some of us are just louder about it than others.
Is a PC, although much more powerful, much more flexible, and capable of so many different things, it's not a gaming machine. And a gaming console is. That being said, I PC game more than I do console game now at this point in my life. I prefer it, and I think that it's better. But practically speaking, it makes perfect sense that the consoles are being prioritized. Why? Because there's 3 sets of hardware.